Hi, it's Brittany from the Empurrium. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're wrapping up Christmas in July, so it's day 5, and I'm so excited because today's video is the announcement that I have dropped a pattern today. So we're gonna make a kitty cat stocking. I love it so much. Alright, so floppy ears, cute tail, hanging loop, nice and open. You have a couple different options for how you'd like to make this, and I have a couple different ones I'll show you. This is the one we make in the video, and it is like a furry, minky blanket material, and my lining is just a regular cotton woven. There is no interfacing in this, and I tacked the tail down. I did in the video, I just kind of tacked it like here and here and here, I think. Right here is another spot I'm going to suggest. I didn't do that in the video, but I would suggest that. So with the no interfacing comes, do you want your ears to be floppy? If that bothers you, you can add interfacing to this ear part because these are 2 pieces. So you can kind of pick and choose how you'd like to make this because you have options with your materials. So like I said, this is minky and woven. This one is a blizzard fleece with a cotton woven, no interfacing. It's a little bit more sturdy because I feel like just the material, that minky one is just so like floppy. It's cute though. This is the first one I made, and this is flannel and cotton woven. This one, I did use some interfacing. I interfaced all of the flannel pieces with fusible fleece. So that is my recommended interfacing depending on your materials. I did have a tester use regular woven interfacing on their lining. So that's an option. This one is my favorite. This one is Sherpa. It's so fuzzy, I love it. And just a regular cotton woven inside. There is no interfacing in this one either. I have this pinned on right now, so sorry, I didn't hand sew all the tails yet. Which brings me to another option you have. You can glue your tail down, you can hand sew, like tack it down in multiple spots, or if you really wanted to, you could top stitch your tail down. It's completely up to you. So I love that there are options when you purchase the pattern, because this tutorial is just like a companion guide to it. You do need the pattern for the pieces and some additional instructions, but you get the PDF pattern pieces, and a huge shout out to my friend Lauren. She helped me learn how to take the pattern piece that I had hand drawn and make it into this PDF pattern file. So you do need to print that out and trim your edges and piece your pattern pieces together. If you've made other patterns, I'm sure you're a pro. And then also you get the written instructions with as many pictures as I could include. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel and my business. And I will have the link to the pattern in the description. I can't wait to drop some more patterns too. I have lots of ideas. Thank you for watching Christmas in July. Also, I hope you've enjoyed. I can't wait to do 13 Days of Christmas again this year. And I'm brewing up a little something for Halloween too. So anyways, we're gonna go over cutting and sewing, and I hope you enjoy. Have a great day. Alright, so I'm going to start cutting mine. I'm gonna use this minky like blanket material. It is a little bit different on each side. So if you were to use something like this, you could decide like this almost looks like more fur-ish, but I think I'm gonna go with the shinier side. And then I'm gonna use some regular gold cotton woven. If you haven't guessed, I'm doing an orange cat. I'm not gonna use any interfacing. I have the tiniest bit of worry that my ears will be floppy, but the fun part about this is you can make it how you want, and stockings aren't meant to be like structured. Like sometimes, I know for myself, I'm a bag maker. I get so into like my bag needs to have like real good structure. Stocking doesn't. Okay, so we're gonna go over the pattern pieces too. There is a 1-inch test square. You're gonna want to print that. Use a ruler and check. The way I set this up is those lines should be right in the middle. So you can cut in the middle of the line or just on the edge of it, and you're gonna be good to go. So my test square worked. For the loop, you have a rectangle. You can also measure it, and I won't be giving any specific measurements because got by the pattern. I respect other designers, I'm gonna respect myself. But you have your tail. You're gonna cut 2 of those. You have your ears. Cut 1 of those. My pieces also were done before I finalized the pattern, so they say a little bit different stuff. But you have your main exterior piece, and then this piece doubles for your front lining, your back lining, and your back exterior. So I like to start with my lining pieces. And you want to pay attention to the orientation when you're cutting. So on this piece, it tells you to cut an exterior and then mirror and cut a lining. So that means you're cutting with the right side up. So I mirror this to cut my lining. You could trace and then use scissors if you want. You just want to be as accurate as you can because you are going to need all your pieces to match up. You have a little bit of wiggle room. And then I like to take on the little points, see if I didn't cut well enough, and just use my scissors to finish the spots. Okay, so this is my back lining. You're also taking this piece right side up to cut your front lower lining. But what we're gonna do for that is you fold down, there's a dashed line, you're gonna fold that down. And you are cutting with the pattern piece right side up for this one. I'm not paying attention to like the grain line of the pattern, and mine is non-directional, but if you are using a directional fabric, be mindful of that. So when you see I'm just trying to like best use my material. made it all the way around. I'm missing like one little spot. Okay, so if you are like me and you miss a spot, also I think I need to change my rotary blade soon. Sometimes, do you ever get like where you have like one spot and you can tell it must just be on the blade, because as you go around there's just little spots that aren't cutting. So those are your only two lining pieces you're going to cut like this. If you really wanted, you could cut your ears piece out of your lining too, but I like doing it so that it's the exterior fabric on both. So you're done with your lining, you can set that aside. I'm going to grab my exterior. For my exterior, I'm going to start with my tail because I'm going to, oh, I said that this was, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my material right sides together. And I just need it to overlap enough that my tail fits. Okay. And then I'm gonna cut both layers at once because you need to cut one and cut one mirrored. And then this just gets sewn together after. So I found with these like slinky materials, it is easier to cut them together and just immediately clip them. And the curves on the tail, it does get a little tricky cutting depending on your material if you're using a rotary blade. So I have kind of had to use scissors also. Like in this curve right here, it is difficult to get the rotary cutter in there. Almost there. Just be careful, go slow, don't cut yourself. Okay, now I'm going to use my scissors because this curve is too difficult for me for the rotary blade there. So this is definitely one of those materials. I'm going to have fur everywhere and I'm wearing a black shirt. Okay, it's fine. So I'm going to grab clips because like I said, I'm going to clip this together right now. So I'm done with that pattern piece. And again, I have these right sides together. The first thing we're gonna do is sew the tail, so this kind of takes care of part of the first step. Also with these materials, the more clips the better, so it's not shifting. so the tail is good. I guess I could set it with the other pieces. Okay. Oh boy. I'm gonna be running the vacuum today for sure. Okay. I'm gonna cut my loop next. Also, you can use a ribbon, and if you do that, you don't need to cut this piece. I think if you were planning on making like a lot, like I'm gonna try to make a bunch of these to take to my cat show in October. So ribbon might be a really good option for me. Okay, so there's my loop piece. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the ears. So this is where we're getting into the direction matters. I have my material right side up, and I have my pattern piece with its right side up so I can read it. And I'm going to cut one of the ear piece. And then again, if you didn't get the corners, just carefully do that. So there is the little ears. Done with that piece. The front exterior piece also is being cut right side up. Like, I'm gonna have orange everywhere. Okay. This is your biggest piece. You definitely want to make sure your material is laying flat. Okay. And I'm just really doing my best to hold the pattern down as I go without shifting it. Okay, then that one is done. And again, just going to those spots to cut them the slightest bit more. I'm gonna find the lint roller before I can continue the video in a minute. Oh my gosh. Okay, one more piece. I'm like, why am I even trying to? It's fine. I'm just gonna embrace it and accept it. Okay. So this is an exterior piece as well. And this one you're cutting the whole piece now. Just accepted. I have to vacuum real good today. Okay, so this is your exterior back. Oh my gosh. Alright, listen, if you don't want this, choose a different material, but I love it and I think it's cute and I'm alright with it. Okay, so I have my exterior back, my exterior front, I have my ears, I have my tail, two sides mirrored, I have my hanging loop, and then for lining I have my, this would be my front blower, and the ears are going to go on that. So I'll move it like this. And then I have my back lining. So ready to sew. I'm so excited. I wrote the pattern already, but I am taking pictures for the pattern as I record this. So I'm not going to do any other clipping yet, but my suggestion is before you leave the cutting table even, you could clip the ears to the lower lining, and then like obviously I already did this. Yeah, but we're ready to sew. I'm so excited. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our two tail pieces, we want them right sides together, have them clipped, and we're going to sew, and we're just sewing around the curves, but we're leaving this opening unsewn so that we can turn the whole tail through that. And I'm going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch. If you want to, or you feel like you need to, you can do 3/8 of an inch and it will still be just fine. Because sometimes these materials do shift. As I said while we were cutting and went to clip, the more clips the better. I probably should have used some more. But we'll just take it nice and slow. I've seen people sometimes use hemostats while they're sewing too, to kind of like hold it together. I haven't tried that myself, but as an option. Okay, so you're gonna want to check real quick that you caught everything. With the fur, it can be a little difficult to see, like right here. That's pretty close, so I'm going to just go right inside my stitches right there, just to be sure. Like, no shame. Fix it now. Or you'll be upset later. Looks like I caught everything there. Alright, so now I instruct you to use pinking shears to trim all of your curves. And some of these are pretty close, so I'm not going to. But wherever you feel you need to. I also feel like this material is going to turn just fine. You could cut little snips in if you want. Use your judgment. Also, these don't like cutting this one. I will say I did not trim my one I made with Sherpa at all, and it was just fine. We need to turn this right side out now, and I usually use my pinking shears, but I'm pretty sure one of my kids took them, so I'm just going to go all the way to the end of the tail. I have my thumb in there, and I'm going to pinch. I'm sorry if you hear the weird noise. I think it's like windy outside, or there's squirrels playing in the tree that's like right on that wall. So it's brushing up against the house. Alright, so I'm gonna just finger press here. I want my tail to lay flat. So there is my finished tail. The next thing we're going to do is attach it to the front exterior. I have my tail that is ready. I grabbed my front exterior. I also grabbed a hand sewing needle and I threaded that. So that will be ready in one moment. We want to place the tail so that it is right about here. I did not put markings in the pattern because depending on your materials, it might not fit completely in it. So I wanted to give you the option to play with the placement just a little bit. I mean, you can, like if you need to extend this past the edge, you can, but you want to make sure it's going to be out of your seam allowance when we sew later. I'm going to baste my tail onto the exterior first. And now that that is there, we can go ahead and attach the tail to the exterior. Now you have a couple of options here. It's going to depend on your materials and how you want to assemble this. So you can glue the tail to the exterior. If you're doing that, you can wait to do it until the end if you don't want to wait for the glue to dry to move on. You can use a hand sewing needle, which is what I'm going to do, or if you want, you could top stitch this tail on. that is a fair option. You could stitch in the middle, you could top stitch on the edges. It's kind of just whatever you want to do. So, like I said, I'm going to tack this down. Now, you want to make sure that your tail is right where you want it to be. You could pin it. Oh, I do have some pins. I couldn't find them the other day. And then I was recording another tutorial and I saw them. Okay, so I'm going to pin this in a couple spots. And then this way it won't shift because I'm going to have to pick it up and move it around. I only want to stitch this exterior in the back of my tail. If you are using like a really furry one and your thread matches, you could go all the way through and I don't think you'd be able to tell. So, options. I'm going to just go through only that one layer, so you kind of have to be a little bit careful here. What is going on? My thread is on the thicker side because I am using the bonded thread. Oh boy. So this is why I don't really hand sew like ever. Oh, there we go. I'm just gonna knot this together and trim those. Okay. Okay. So I'm in the back of this tail right here. And then I'm going to go through the exterior. And I'm just gonna do this 2 to 3 times, just enough that that is on there. If you really wanted, you could keep stitching, but I think as long as you have that just so it's tacked down, it'll be fine, and then it'll kind of have a little bit of slight movement to it, and I think it'll be really cute. Okay, so there's one spot. I think I'm gonna do the 3 spots I pinned it. So I can take that pin out, and that is there, and then see the top isn't going anywhere. Alright. See if I can not mess this up this time. Ooh, I did it. Alright, so just through the one layer. Through the exterior. And I'm going to be knotting this off this time. And then one more for me. Right here. Maybe go right about here, because it's going to be held down here. Alright. Alright, so we've got through the exterior, through the tail, exterior, tail, exterior, and I'm going to knot this off. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. take that pin out. And you can see where my pins were, but I might have shifted that the teeniest bit, but I think that's pretty good. So now that we have the tail on there, we can set this aside and we'll work on the hanging loop. So another choose your own adventure. So depending on the material you're using, it's going to depend how you make this. So it's going to be kind of like a personal preference and whatever works best. This fur, I'm going to do like a trifold. Oh, it'll be this way. So I'll fold in twice. And then that is 3 layers. If you're using Sherpa or fur, I would suggest just folding in half and sewing this raw edge. You might want to trim it down a little so it's not as wide. That's up to you. If you're using woven or flannel, I'm going to suggest a double fold. So you'll fold into the center and press, and then you'll open it, fold in, fold again. You've got 4 layers you're going to sew, but your material is thinner, so it works better. Fleece is going to kind of depend on how thick it is. So I had used a fleece that was similar to this thickness, and I did this trifold. If you're using ribbon and you cut it to the size, you're good to go. You'll be ready for the next step. So like I said, I'm going to fold into the center and then fold again. I'm not going all the way to the edge, but pretty close. Just a couple clips to hold it, and then I'm gonna just top stitch this so that I'm about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the material. And if it comes unclipped, just fold it back down. Okay, and if it gets a little twisty, it's fine. So you've got your loop, and then you're gonna fold that, slightly overlap, just like this. Give it a clip, and then we're ready. Oh, guess I didn't actually clip it. And then we're gonna attach this to the back, exterior, and lining, so we will grab those. Taking that folded loop, we've got our back lining and our back exterior. On the lining, we're going to place the loop about 1.5 inches in. We want to extend this about 1/4 inch past and clip. And then you're going to take and put these 2 pieces right sides together, line up that top edge, and clip the straight top edge together. So I'm going to line up the ends first. I also think that this is easier if you sew from the lining side, since it's not fuzzy. But just make sure that everything is still lined up. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew this together at 3/8 of an inch. These should line up. It's just my material shifted a tiny bit. Don't trim. Oh yeah, it shifted real bad. It's fine. I'll make it work. Don't trim these because you want that overhang for durability for your loop. Once you have that sewn, we are going to flip the material so that the wrong sides are together, and you want to line everything up. And we're going to be clipping all the way around. So you truly want everything to be lined up. And you can line like these little points up. I find that helps me if I make sure that they're in the right spots. And when we were cutting, I said you have a little bit of wiggle room. You do. Just make them match up as best as you can. Like, I don't know what's going on right here. I think I cut this lining maybe a touch too big, but I'm gonna make it work. Okay. And then we also want to make sure that we are lining up this top seam. I'm gonna clip this. We're going to be top stitching across here and basting the rest closed. So like I said, I like sewing from this side. Sorry. I'm gonna trim this right here just because it's hanging over a little bit. And then also I'm gonna trim this just a touch. And this is just because I didn't cut right. It's fine. We're adaptable. We can fix things and we can make things work. But the pattern pieces are the same, so they should match if you cut it accurately. Like I said, I just didn't. It's all right. Okay. So we're stitching all the way around. Yeah. When I sewed these two pieces together at the top, for some reason, I didn't line them up great. So, it doesn't really help. Okay, and then you want to be neater with this spot because you are top stitching. Going over that loop might give you a little bit of thickness problem, but it really shouldn't. Might be off a little. It's so funny too because I made 4 of these and it just went so smooth. I make jokes sometimes that if I'm doing a video, something is gonna go wrong. There's been times where I have made a pattern for the first time and I was afraid to record a tutorial and it came out so perfect and I'm like, all right, I can record the second one, and I just massively made a mistake and had to fix it. It's something that happens, but it is always nice being able to share how I fixed something that went wrong, because then I know, like, we're humans, we make mistakes, like, no one's perfect, so it's good. Okay. It's pretty close. Looks like I maybe missed that right there, but just a base. We're good. So we will set this aside, and we will now refer to this as the completed back, and then we will work on the front. We have our ears and our front lower lining pieces. We will be putting those together, lining them up. They should be pretty close. Disclaimer, this is the second time I'm doing this. Mine shifted so bad. I don't know what's going on today with me and not getting things lined up. I might actually try stitching with the fur on the top this time. And adding a couple more clips. When I went to cut this material, I was like, oh, it's not stretchy. It just doesn't like me. Okay. Here we go. So we're gonna stitch across this straight top edge. I think that's better, yay. Alright, so we're going to fold those ears up, but we want our seam to fold down towards the lower lining. And then we will top stitch across the seam. So I'm going to take my time, I'm going to feel and make sure that my seam is going down. All right, so there is our completed front lining. We'll grab the front exterior next. I have my front lining and my front exterior. I'm going to put them right sides together, lining up the ears. I want to make sure get this as lined up as possible. And I'm gonna clip these together. And I want to make note where this seam is on our lining piece. That's kind of like a start and stop point for the step we're on. We're making the ears right now. So we're going to be clipping and then we will be sewing, but we're only doing the top ears. We're going to be leaving everything below that top stitch line alone. And I'm going to want to make sure I'm lining up my points. If you need to, like, you can pick it up like this and match up the front and back. Need some more clips. Trying to make sure I have plenty and this isn't gonna shift on me. Another thing too, see how that is right there? You want to make sure that you are grabbing them flat. Okay, I'm going to flip this over to sew because I want to be able to see that line. And I'm just going to go from that seam all the way around the ears and stop at the other seam. Or top stitch, however you would like to refer to it. Just taking my time, making sure everything stays lined up, and I catch the top and bottom pieces. Again, we're stopping at that seam, top stitch. Here you can snip into the corners, so you would just go right there, right there. Make sure you don't cut into your stitches. You can also use pinking shears around the curves. You just want to make sure, and again, it depends on what materials you're using. You can also take your finger and make sure before you go any further that you have caught all of your stitches there. Now we will turn this right side out, and you're just gonna pop those ears and make sure that they lay nice. Just kind of finger roll. And then what this does is you kind of have this seam going like this, and that is fine. So these are stitched together, these are left open. We're going to clip these together by putting them wrong sides together, and with the bulk of the tail I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to start lining up my points for my 2 layers, and I'm going to start clipping. Here, what we're gonna do is you're just going to open this to about here. So you're about a 1/2 inch away from there. And we're gonna clip that. Same thing on this side. You don't want to just leave it folded the whole way, but like this. So it's folded in just ever so slightly. And yeah, this is a lot of clips for a basting stitch, but I want to make sure that I'm catching everything. Alright, now we're ready to baste this. Just like the back, we are going to baste this together. So I'm gonna go right here, about 1/2 inch away from where the seam is, and I'm stitching on the first side for this again because I feel like it actually did work better. Okay, so we got that basted together. We caught everything. It looks good. I'm gonna trim a tiny bit of this off. I grabbed the pinking shears twice on accident. Okay, I just don't want all of that bulk. Like, having it hang over a tiny bit is just fine and will be good, but I don't want all of the bulk. All right, so we've got that basted. It's so fuzzy. We're good to grab our, oh, sorry. This is the completed front. We're good to grab the completed back and finish it up. We have the completed front, so everything is basted together, and the completed back. Also, everything sewn together, and we're gonna attach those, and I'm gonna grab one of my woven labels because I have not put one in one yet. I keep forgetting. And we're gonna take and put these right sides together, or exterior sides together, and we're gonna line them up, and we're gonna start clipping. So make sure your points are matched up. And then for the top, your back is going to go up just past your top stitch there for the front. That is how it works. It ends up enclosing this little gap right here. So more clips right there helps me make sure everything is lined up. And again, this side, those should just overlap as well. Okay. And once that top is lined up well, I'll move to clipping some other spots. You do have the tail in there, so just make sure you're smoothing everything out to line it up. like, it sounds like there's a neighborhood dog that's upset. He's barking. Okay. Jeez, I didn't think I need more clips. Okay, so if you're gonna put a woven label in, like I want to, I think I'm gonna put it like right here. So you can just clip it like this in there, and it'll end up on the inside. Alright, so now we are going to stitch all the way around, and you're going to want to go inside your basting stitch. For the final stitch, I like to have the back facing up, because that's how I know where I'm going to start and stop, because you're not stitching anything above the back piece. Make sure you back stitch at the start and the stop also. This is your final construction, and it is what holds it all together. Take your time and make sure that your curves are smooth. We're gonna want to check our work. So on the back is where you're really gonna be able to tell this is okay. And you can tell, like, I have both these lines. The way I'm telling which one is because I know on this side I was inside of my seam. Everything looks so good. We are ready to turn it right side out. So my tag is like that. And yes, this is a raw edge. If you want, you can finish this with binding. It is an option in addition, but you do not need, you don't have to do that. So once you turn it right side out, you're going to just from the inside. Oh, see this? I gotta fix that. All right, okay, so that was right here. I think that's where when I basted those together, I didn't catch it. Okay, we were almost done. Anyways, this is why we check. All right, that was right here. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to in that spot, push, and make sure it's flat. That would be right here where it wasn't there. Okay, so I need to fix this by going from that corner. I made sure I kept my curve. Again, things are fixable. And also, I really, like, truly had no problems with the first few I made, so. Okay. I didn't catch it still. I'm going to fix that on my own. I don't want to keep harping on that in the video, but even if I have to take it apart, it'll be all good. But you're gonna want to just use your hand to poke out. At least it's on the back. Alright. It is so cute. So if you didn't already attach your tail, you can still do it now using glue or basting it. And so again, this is no interfacing at all. And it is so cute. I gotta fix that. Ignore that. It's fine. When you're basting together your pieces, if you notice you don't catch, take care of that before you go to the end, or you could end up in this situation. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. I'm really excited to release a new pattern, and I know that as of releasing this, it is July and it is a Christmas pattern, but as we know in the craft world, we like to get ahead of the game. So, and there's the tag. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye. Donut is with me to announce. Well, why are you playing with thread? Donut.